Hello, beautiful people. Hope everybody's doing well today. As always, thank you so much for the prayers, for the financial contributions. You people are amazing, and we really appreciate your help. We really appreciate all the love. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. Today I'm making video number 4 in this particular series of how and why. I did the same thing that I did last time. I made a bunch of notes, so you may see me looking over because I really want to be concise with what I'm saying again to be clear about this point. So in the same time frame I was intensely studying and learning about human physiology, I was also drawn to learn about Nikola Tesla. Albert Einstein was asked by a reporter what it was like being the smartest man on the planet, and he said, "I don't know, you'll have to ask Mr. Tesla." So without going down another explanation path, I would encourage you to look into the life and accomplishments of Tesla. He was a life of service to humanity. His inventions revolutionized our world. And he always shared his ideas freely, which is amazing. Because here's a guy that literally invented electricity, the radio, AC current, GPS, all those things he invented. The one thing he said, though, that drew me to his work and life was, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, focus on energy, frequency, and vibration. So I began applying this theory to how I approach body work and learning to listen to how frequencies, vibrations, and energies could be felt and utilized to facilitate the self-healing process with clients. And in 2019, I've been working really hard to grow the Catalyst program for about 10 years. And I did a TEDx talk, wrote a book about the program, was constantly promoting on social media, but it felt like it was time to step back and give it a rest. So I started asking God, okay, please show me what's next. What is my next act of service? And it was August of 2019, and I stumbled upon a documentary called The Last Days. And this was created by Steven Spielberg in 1998. The documentary was a compilation of interviews of 4 Jewish people who were children at the time and living in different towns in Hungary. The time setting was 1944, and Hitler was no longer trying to win a war, but focused on his quote-unquote final solution of exterminating all the Jews by sending them to their deaths at Auschwitz. In the introduction of the documentary, one of the interviews stated, people asked, why didn't you run or hide or fight back against the Nazis? And her reply was, because it didn't happen all at once. They would make new rules for Jews, and we would keep saying, oh, it will pass. But the propaganda against the Jewish community had begun 10 years earlier, created by Joseph Goebbels, Reich Minister of Propaganda for the Nazi regime. And Goebbels began his campaign against the Jewish community in 1933. German people were angry about the economy and many other hardships created during the First World War. And Goebbels used this, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing the dude's name right or not, I don't really care. But Goebbels used the opportunity following Hitler's orders to place all the blame on the Jews. And the non-Jewish community, over time, began to marginalize and hate the Jews, believing the heavy propaganda. So for 10 years, the people of Germany were fed lies by the Nazi regime, and because they needed someone to blame, they followed right along. So in 1944, the Nazi regime simply rolled into different cities and rounded up the Jewish people to transport them to concentration camps. And the people in these cities who had been neighbors and friends with Jewish families immediately turned their backs on them and became monsters, allowing the Germans to carry out their final solution. Watching this documentary made me sick. And at the same time, it intrigued me. Because how could something so sinister and evil be achieved? Like, how could people be so gullible and used to devastate a whole group of people who were productive members of their community? Now, we'll admit, at this point, I became pretty obsessed with learning about the Nazi regime, especially the SS and how they operated. I watched documentaries, researched hundreds of articles, and spent hours and hours reading, trying to stay neutral so I could process the information without being full of rage. It was one of the most difficult tasks of my life. During my research, I discovered how the United States and corporations were involved in the participation of exterminating the Jews. It is sickening to say the least. The government consistently turned away ships with Jewish immigrants who were trying to escape Nazi persecution because they feared that the Nazis were sending spies to the U.S. Now, they based all their decisions to deny the Jewish immigrants on one case, a man named Herbert Karl Friedrich Bahr, who was accused of being a spy. And from that point, all Jewish immigrants were turned back to Germany, where over a quarter of them met their untimely deaths in concentration camps. So I have a question for you. Do you enjoy these restaurants? Panera, Krispy Kreme Donuts, Caribou Coffee, Einstein Brothers Bagel Bakery, or Pret a Manger. The JAB Holding Company owns these restaurants and controls many other products on the market. During World War II, JAB Holding Company produced chemicals and bought Jewish inmates from Nazis to use as slave labor. The company finally confessed their dark past in 2019. A little late, if you ask me. The Bayer Corporation purchased concentration camp victims from the Nazis for use in medical testing. Remember that next time you consider buying their products. IBM created the tabulating program for the Nazis to record the number of Jews sent and killed in concentration camps. And when the war was over, the U.S. government, fearing the Russians would gain access to scientists, doctors, and other professionals from Germany, created Operation Paperclip. This undertaking gave asylum and accommodated the immigration of hundreds, maybe thousands, of Nazis to the U.S. Our space program at NASA was founded on Wernher von Braun's, an SS officer, ability to produce rockets. His innovation of the V-2 rocket devastated many towns in Great Britain during the war. So while space travel is great, just know that it's because of a Nazi that we're there. At this point in my research, I could feel my frequency dropping, for sure. The disappointment and disgust in humanity I experienced while researching, it was palpable. And I was beginning to vibrate at a low level. And as I will explain later, cancer also vibrates at a very low frequency. So that's my video for today. This is where it all started for me. And it was in August of 2019, well before this whatever plague started. And it was interesting to experience because hindsight is 2020. But when I look back now, I think, why is God pointing me in this direction? Why did he point me to start doing this research? What was the reasoning behind it? So I'm going to stop there because I can feel my vibration lowering. So I need to go outside and ground, walk around my food forest in my yard, watch a movie with my lovely Zoe, and yeah. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I love you. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope these videos are of value. And yeah, one other thing really quickly. It took me almost 3 weeks to get my reports from the for a CT scan for my head, or for my neck, from my body, from the CT scan place to the ordering physician. So literally, the CT scan place didn't send the ordering physician the reports for the test that they ordered. And I was standing on top of them day after day. So I want to remind everybody, advocate for yourself. You have to stay on top of these people, especially in the US. It's pitiful, it's pathetic, but you have to stay on top of them. So, yeah, just be aware and know that you have to advocate for yourself, because nobody else is going to do it. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.